here for Zoho, it's just a module. Social is not always going to be their priority. Their priorities are going to be dictated by what their customers are requesting and where the largest number of their customers are, which are going to be in the marketing space, tech space, software space, IT as well. Then they have the surveys, they have the backstage, which is slightly more event management platform. And the only other place where we saw event management platform was with Microsoft.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. And if you're joining for the first time, this is part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We review one vendor or the solution. And for today, this is part of our CRM portfolio series. And today we have Zoho CRM, which is a very exciting solution. So we are going to have a lot of fun discussing that. Before we do that, we are going to start with everybody's intros. I am going to start with my quick intro. Sam Gupta, principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP CRM digital transformation consulting firm. On that note, Andy, can I ask you to introduce yourself next?
Oh, you better believe it. Thank you so much for inviting me again, Sam. My name's Andy Pratico. I've been involved in ERP software for manufacturers all my life. I worked all over North America, worked with well over 1,000 manufacturers in my career. And I also help people uncover the truth about ERP systems before they purchase. So hopefully I can add a little advice here and there for folks.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Andy, Shrestha, do you want to go next?
Thank you, Sam. Hi, everybody. My name is Shrestha Das, and I'm part of the marketing team at Elevate IQ. And I'm really excited to be here today.
Okay, amazing, guys. Thank you so much for being here once again. And if you're in the audience joining for the first time, make sure you guys post your questions, comments. We include them as part of our reviews. So always looking forward to them. Now I will start with the quick briefing, guys, as we always do with every single solution. So with Zoho CRM, and before that, I guess I'll touch base a little bit overall from the CRM positioning perspective. We have reviewed a lot of them. Now, I would say 4 or 5. Shrestha, Andy, you all have been part of many of them. Some of them were slightly more enterprise solutions. This would be the SMB solution, even though they have a lot of enterprise logos as well. We'll touch on some of the differences there, in terms of the capabilities that you are going to find in enterprise solutions versus the slightly more mid-market solution. For the most part, if you look at the overarching positioning of Zoho CRM in terms of the buckets that we generally discuss as part of the CRM, which is going to be your sales cloud, marketing cloud, customer service cloud. Then we have also seen some of the contact center centric capabilities in a lot of them, especially systems such as your Zendesk. They are going to have those capabilities. They are going to be really strong. We saw that with Microsoft as well, that they have some of the contact center capabilities as well. Then you have field service. Field service is a unique beast. That's another slice that they have as part of the whole CX portfolio in general. And then obviously you are going to have things such as your customer insights, which was part of your Microsoft portfolio, which is your customer data platform. So here with Zoho, you are not going to find all of those enterprise grade capabilities. Zoho CRM is going to be slightly more focused on transactional, operational, downstream marketing centric use cases as opposed to upstream marketing. And the way to differentiate between these two is going to be whatever you are doing in your marketing world, meaning you are sort of trying to integrate the channels, you are trying to target all of these channels, you are doing a lot of fun stuff. But that is not as serious from the operations finance perspective, meaning you are not necessarily booking the sales order in that phase. That is all would fall under slightly more upstream marketing. And that's why you have systems such as your HubSpot, Active Campaign. They are going to be really strong in that upstream marketing function. But
Sam,
yeah.
what is it you mean by upstream versus downstream? Is that the difference between inbound and outbound, or what is that?
So inbound and outbound both would require some upstream and downstream. In general, let's say if your business is completely inbound, meaning customers are knocking your door, depending upon at what stage they are
That's
knocking.
our business.
That's your business. Good job in getting your name there, having that expertise. But that is very rare, and not everybody is going to be as lucky as you are. Very hard to earn the business, right?
Right, of course.
So now, depending upon inbound, outbound, if the inbound is going to be literally customers are coming, with a checkbook that, okay, here's the checkbook, give me your product.
How much do I pay?
Exactly. Then you don't need much of marketing, right?
No.
Then you can probably do all of this maybe inside ERP system. You don't even need the downstream marketing or downstream sales ops capabilities that are going to be part of some of these CRM systems. But in general, in last 10, 15 years, the whole marketing function has grown a lot because of the increased digital marketing footprint in general. Back in the days, we had trade shows, get the lead, make some calls, and maybe they are going to give you order. That was the scope of sales and marketing. But now things have changed a lot with respect to your ads, with respect to your inbound channel. So there's a lot that you can do in the upstream marketing function, especially if your sales cycle is going to be very long. But the whole downstream CRM component is very critical as well, especially for certain industries where your customer experience touch point or the integration is going to be critical. For example, let's say if you look at industries such as not-for-profit, public sector, okay, their customer centric processes are not necessarily going to be integrated with your accounting, because they don't, sometimes they might care for MRP, let's say if they want to integrate their procurement processes, but for the most part they care for more for the customer centric processes, and the only thing they are trying to do is manage the interaction, manage the workflows. They might have many different programs that they might need to manage. They might need to do a little bit of reporting. Sometimes that could be financial reporting, sometimes that's going to be slightly more operational reporting. Now, all of these capabilities need to reside inside a CRM. So, if you ask marketers, what is downstream marketing, they are going to say, you know what, that's all ERP. That's how they feel. Everything that is going to touch your dollars, that is going to have slightly more transactional use cases, for them, it's all ERP. But that is not the case. Okay, even CRMs have very transactional workflows where they need to manage the transactions. If those transactions don't need to be embedded with your operational procurement processes, supply chain processes, accounting, financial processes, then that would all reside in your CRM systems, and they become very thick as well, depending upon the industry, which industry you are targeting it for. So I don't know, Andy, if that answers your question.
We'll just move forward. I'm sure I'll pick it up as we go.
Yeah, you are never going to get clear answer in the ERP CRM community, right, Andy?
That's like trying to evaluate these systems and trying to get a straight answer, right?
You're never going to get that.
Never going to get it.
So here, I guess, they have done some, visualization here, and that'll paint the picture for you, Andy. So they have many different capabilities that they have highlighted as part of Zoho, but obviously they are going to be extremely vague. Not everywhere they are going to be equally deep. But what they are saying is they have marketing segmentation, they have sales enablement, they have ChatGPT integration, they have Salesforce automation, they have CPQ, then they have predictive AI and BI, advanced analytics, journey orchestration, and then kiosk studio. If you look at this diagram, I'm not seeing much of the CRM capabilities, to be completely honest, right? but they are a very sophisticated CRM. They have very strong CRM capabilities, and their CRM capabilities are going to be very, very, very comparable to your Salesforce. Overall, from the CRM workflow perspective, especially with your downstream, marketing downstream sales perspective. But things change when you are looking at scenarios such as, let's say, website integration. Okay, Zoho may have a bunch of forms that you can deploy on your website, but they are not going to have a real CMS, and that's where your marketing automation systems are going to differ, because they are going to have a real CMS component built as part of their CRM as well, so that you are going to get end-to-end traceability across all of your customer touch points. And that's the overarching intent of any CRM, but some do it well, some don't do it, and depending upon how you define what you're looking for, I guess. So here,
I think your last sentence there, your last 3 or 4 words, anyways, is the crux. Is what is it you're looking for?
Exactly. And here, Andy, things such as your CPQ. Now you are going to go to Salesforce. They are going to have CPQ capabilities as well. So these are the capabilities that are going to be slightly more downstream in nature, because these are the capabilities that are intertwined with your transactions. They are intertwined with your sales orders, sales codes, and these capabilities are extremely difficult as well. Now, if you go to your marketing automation systems, they are going to say that, they have CRM capabilities as well, but they are not going to have the real transactional capabilities. For example, CPQ, the real data model that you are going to require to be able to manage those transactional workflows inside the CRM. And in certain industries, it's extremely critical to have those capabilities. Otherwise, the CRM is not going to work.
So the difference between upstream and downstream is basically whether it's transactional or not?
Before pre-sales versus after pre-sales. Okay. Overall from the touch point perspective. So and there could be a little thin line there as well, but anything that happens before you touch the dollars, that's going to be your upstream marketing. That is going to be anything that you are doing more from the ad spend perspective, managing channels, managing marketing communication, marketing interaction, responding to inquiries to customers, but they are not serious. You don't even know if the opportunity exists or not. You are managing these interactions on social media. You are driving the traffic, but you don't know for what.
so prospects versus customers?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. But both of them are going to have some sort of prospects and customers as well, depending upon how you define them.
Okay. Thank you.
Depending upon how you define them. Even ERPs are going to have prospects and customers. But the stage at which you are going to employ the ERP processes is going to differ depending upon the industry, depending upon the touch point. So again, the CPQ would fall, under that downstream marketing-centric workflow. Salesforce automation is probably going to fall in that downstream bucket. Journey orchestration could fall anywhere, but this is primarily the marketing automation workflow. So that's probably going to be upstream marketing. Marketing segmentation, again, that would fall under that, upstream marketing workflow. Sales enablement is slightly more sales function. So this would fall slightly more into the CRM workflow, even though sales enablement and marketing automation could be perceived as very similar overall from the campaign design perspective, but your sales enablement is going to be slightly more one-to-one communication workflow. This is going to be, the journey orchestration is going to be slightly more broadcast. You are doing, for the masses and praying that somebody is going to buy your products, I guess. So that's a real difference between those two. So overall, Zoho data model, the way their data structure is designed, it's really designed for those downstream workflows, very similar to Salesforce. Okay, they are not going to have as deep capabilities as HubSpot from the upstream marketing automation perspective, but they are going to have the other, capabilities comparable to Salesforce. And Salesforce has very similar limitation as well. They are not as strong in the marketing automation function, even though they have a product, but the product is not embedded overall from the workflow perspective. The other advantage that you're going to find with Zoho is Zoho has Zoho One, and Zoho One has many apps, as part of their portfolio, and they can provide you a lot of integration as long as you are using Zoho apps. Their pricing model is very friendly as well, as long as you are going to use all of those apps. The real limitation with Zoho is that each of those apps are going to have their own data models. They are going to have their own databases, and they also are going to reside in their own data centers. And that's a real distinction between your mid-market versus your enterprise design. generally the enterprise systems are going to be able to host your global workloads. So when you are trying to consolidate your global CRM processes in one system across your process boundaries, then you would probably require your enterprise systems for the omni-channel traceability, from the global footprint perspective. That is probably not going to be possible with Zoho. Zoho is going to be really good for those transactional scenarios, but they are not necessarily good for that global traceability perspective. Any comments, guys?
No,
I'll
thank you,
keep
Sam.
I'll keep going here. Okay, so now the other competing technologies, we have already touched on Salesforce a little bit. Microsoft is going to have Microsoft is a very enterprise grade product, from the CRM footprint perspective. So Microsoft has very strong transactional CRM as well. They are not going to have marketing automation capabilities. We have been very consistent with that positioning, even though Microsoft did not agree with us that they were thinking that they probably have the marketing automation capabilities, but they rely on add-ons, for those capabilities.
They weren't real happy with our comments that time.
Yeah, they were not. We can't make everybody happy, Andy.
I don't make very many people happy at all, to be honest.
When you have some belief and position, then obviously you have to disagree with some people. So again, I mean, we have a process that we follow for these reviews, and we are treating every single vendor fairly in terms of how we assess. Yeah. So again, from our lenses, Microsoft does not really have the kind of marketing automation capabilities that the systems such as your HubSpot are going to have. But systems such as your HubSpot Active Campaign, they are going to be extremely weak in their transactional workflow capabilities, the kind of capabilities that Zoho or Salesforce or even Microsoft is going to have. Yeah. Then you have Creatio. Creatio is a very low code, no code platform. Zoho has very deep capabilities for the low code, no code as well. If you look at their platform, especially as part of Zoho One, they have the whole, even though they are an SMB platform, but overall from the system capability perspective, they have real deep IT capabilities where we can design as many custom apps as you like. And in CRM workflows, you would require those apps because for the most part, when you look at the CRMs are more of the programming languages. They don't have as much business functionality built as you are going to find inside ERP systems. And there is a reason for that because each industry is different. The sales processes are very different. So, CRM vendors generally don't provide very prescriptive functionality, even though some CRM vendors are providing that. But even then, you might outgrow that. They might not work, and then you have to pay licensing. So it's very tricky in the CRM space. It's never as easy, and that's why the CRM platforms provide a lot more capabilities to be able to develop your own custom workflows, because you are going to require a lot of custom workflows, custom integration, custom processes. That's the real difference between CRM space as well as the ERP space, and that's why Creatio is far more successful in the CRM space. Don't try to create an ERP inside Creatio. Don't do that. It's not gonna fly. Okay, then you have marketing automation. Active Campaign is a very upstream marketing product. You have Adobe Campaign as well, which is your marketing product. That is also very marketing automation centric product. Then you have field service capabilities. Zoho is trying to develop that. They are not as strong in field service at this point of time. They traditionally did not target those field service centric industries, but now they are trying to come up with some of the field service capabilities as well. But again, their capabilities are not going to be enterprise grade. For the most part, they are going to provide very transactional capabilities for their SMB target market. And then contact center gets very deep as well, because now you are getting into the whole telco boundary. Even though Zoho is going to have integration with a lot of different telco platforms, and then you are going to have very busy call center. The processes are going to be very embedded, intertwined there as well in terms of planning, and that we saw during Zendesk as well. Zoho has some capabilities there. You can do a lot. But again, that's not going to be comparable with your package systems or Zendesk. Zendesk is a very open platform. With Zoho, you might need to develop those integration yourself, and that gets very expensive overall from the consulting effort perspective. The industries that you are going to find Zoho primarily, that are going to be primarily service-centric industries. That's their primary target market. So you are looking at companies like ERP consulting, accounting, law firms, marketing agencies, tech firms, education, real estate. They do really well because they are going to require a lot of custom CRM workflows. In the real estate space, systems such as Salesforce struggle a lot. Even though Salesforce,
Really?
yeah,
Is that
yeah,
right?
yeah, even though Salesforce is very highly customizable, but again, when you are customizing something, you need the real technical expertise. Yeah, otherwise that could fire back pretty bad. So yeah, so we have seen cases where they really do struggle, and that's why you have a real estate specific CRMs. But again, those CRMs are going to be built for very specific business model transactions. So let's say if you have two different business models, or you are going to acquire companies, or your business model is going to change, then you will struggle there, because the processes are not going to have the same scalability that your vanilla CRMs are going to have, the likes of your Zoho, Salesforce, etc. I'll keep going here. I guess some of the other industries, not-for-profit, financial services, education, you are going to find them a lot. And then this particular diagram that you are going to see, they have a lot of low-code, no-code workflow automation-centric processes that are very easy to design, and these are not going to be as easy even with systems such as your HubSpot. So Zoho is really, really good at customization, automation-centric workflows. They are really good at designing those custom apps, and their real comparison is probably going to be Power Platform from Microsoft. Microsoft is very easy as well. It is designed for enterprise-centric workflows. Zoho is going to be very similar too, but primarily for the SMB market. Okay, so now this is the screenshot of their different buckets, and how they are bundling this overall from the Zoho app perspective, and they have a lot of capabilities. I don't know if any other CRM vendors are going to have as many capabilities, but sometimes there are going to be a blurred lines between your CRM versus accounting. Zoho, the way they are approaching this is they feel that there's going to be an app for every single process, and they are trying to design their app. But as such, there is no sort of embeddedness integration between those apps. So again, the distribution strategy is very different. This is designed for the target market that are going to be probably on QuickBooks or Zoho Books. Zoho Books is a very similar platform as your QuickBooks. It is designed for that target market. In some industries, being on that platform is probably going to be okay, even if you're going to be $100 million, just because you don't require the tightness in your processes. But that may not be applicable to all industries, especially if you're going to be in slightly more product-centric industries, which is going to be your manufacturing, distribution, industrial distribution. That's where the real complexity is overall from the ERP supply chain process perspective. So here, this is the sales bucket. Inside sales bucket, they have many, many, many different products. By the way, they have two different products for CRM. One is going to be Begin, and the second is slightly more from their perspective. They are going to call this enterprise, but it's not enterprise. It is going to have slightly more customizable capabilities. The Begin is a very easy platform. You can probably start, yourself if you want to do that. You don't require consulting expertise. It does not have as many data layers that you have to understand to be able to implement. So Begin is going to be a very similar platform as your maybe Zendesk Sell or Fresh Desk Sell. Those CRMs are very, very, very prescriptive in nature. They will be able to support only very prescriptive sales process. If you require any sort of customization from there, then it will probably not work for you. So that's where your Begin is very handy, especially for smaller companies if they might not have consulting budget.
From the list of functionality you see on the underneath the word sales, there's I don't know 15 different bullets.
Yeah.
It does appear Zoho is trying to be a little bit of an ERP system.
Depending upon how you define the ERP, if you ask Zoho, they will probably tell you that they are an ERP.
They are. They do. They do.
But this is definitely not an ERP. This is the collection of apps. This is
Yes.
bag of apps. That's not how ERP is supposed to work.
Right.
ERP is supposed to have slightly more embedded, integrated data
Integration.
model and processes. Here, you can move data between your systems, but you are still going to have very isolated customer master for each of the apps, very isolated item master. Again, you can move data here and there, you can synchronize a little bit, but you don't have the same data integrity that you are going to find inside ERP systems. And that's why ERP systems are very hard. Because you are trying to move all the departments together. Here the intent is different. Here you are telling them, hey, you can play silo if you like, okay, but because of that silo sport, you are not going to have visibility into what everybody else is doing in the organization, and that's why you are going to have a lot of duplication and effort. You are going to have a lot of data integrity issues. So again, the purpose is very different overall from the financial planning perspective. And depending upon where you are, if you are just starting, you don't have as much consulting budget, you are okay with duplication, you are okay with a little bit of admin effort, until $10 million, there's no problem at all. You can probably survive on Zoho. But once you hit that 10 million, 15 million mark, that's when you are probably going to require slightly more integrated processes. So here, and Andy, I don't know if you are going to have any follow-up comment there. No?
No, that was great. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, perfect. So these two are two completely different products, even though they are bundling them together. It's a very similar strategy as Microsoft. Microsoft follows very similar strategy that, okay, they are going to have a bunch of apps, and then one of the app is going to be Business Central, which is a completely different product.
Right.
Just because they are struggling, how to present this. And that's a challenge that, 90% of the ERP vendors are going to have. There's a real challenge here. But I guess, the strategy is very similar as Microsoft, because some of these apps you can combine with both of the products. And that's why they are bundling it together, because you're going to have things such as your Zoho Sign. Zoho Sign is a very basic app that can be integrated with pretty much anything. It does not even require much of the integration, to be completely honest. So you can use those with any software as you like, and that's why they are bundling it together. And then they're going to have.
What does it do? It says digital signature. What does it do? Is it?
Where do you see that here?
On Sign on the very right hand column.
On this slide, or are you on the next slide?
No, on this slide. On the right, there's 3 columns: Form, Sign, Voice.
Oh, yeah. This is the one, Sign. Okay, got it. Okay, so
digital signature app for businesses.
Yeah, so this is going to be very similar to DocuSign.
I was going to say, is that what that is?
Yeah. Oh. It's just that, it's part of the Zoho portfolio that you don't have to pay to DocuSign, because, if you buy DocuSign, you're probably going to pay $15, $20 per month per user just for DocuSign. Here, you are getting the entire Zoho one for, let's say, $50 per user. So you are getting a lot. It's that cheap, to be completely honest, for what they are offering. And that's the real value of Zoho, because the price that they are able to offer, nobody can compete with them. Like literally nobody. Yeah. So you get a lot. Here you are going to get Sign, you are going to get Forms, and Forms is nothing but your Monday.com, to be completely honest. Okay, Monday.com does not have more than this. But Monday.com has like $1 billion valuation right now.
Yeah.
But obviously Zoho has very high valuation as well. But sometimes when you have too much, it becomes very confusing to position. But your Forms is very similar to your Monday.com, Smartsheet, etc., the way they work. Then you have the bookings. And again, Zoho is also going to have a lot of overlap. And sometimes their salespeople are going to struggle as well in terms of what each of these apps do. And that's where you are going to have a little bit of architecture expertise. Okay, which app is going to do what, for which processes, that you still need to define from your requirement perspective. You have things such as your Route IQ. Route IQ is going to be the whole territory planning piece. And now this functionality might reside inside your TMS. We saw that for some industries, you are going to have these capabilities residing inside TMS. But here, again, Zoho's perspective is very service-centric. So they are helping sales reps go to the field, organize their workflow in terms of which customers they are going to be visiting, next. So there's a little bit of route planning, but it's not the real route planning for the manufacturers, distributors, the way they are going to do their load planning. So there are differences, even though they all might read very similar, in terms of their capabilities. But Route IQ is probably not going to be the field service. You are going to see the field service capability separately. So there's a lot of overlap there as well. They have some very interesting piece of functionality. For example, they have complete loyalty and affiliate management platform. And now loyalty and affiliate management platform, they are maybe from different industries. In some industries, you might have both. So for example, loyalty you would see in the retail industries. Okay. Affiliate management platform, you are going to see this with marketing agencies. You are going to see this with, slightly more e-commerce centric shops, the newer ones, the digital shops, right? So e-commerce may be the combination of retail as well as affiliate, but that is probably the only industry where you are going to see the combination of this. Now, from the product perspective, we saw loyalty management with Oracle. I don't know any other platform that does that, because Oracle is very strong in retail, commerce. That's why Oracle had those capabilities as part of their CRM bucket. We didn't see that even with SAP, not even Microsoft. Then we have the affiliate management capabilities. And again, affiliate management is slightly newer capability. I don't know how many platforms are going to have that. Sometimes that is going to be part of your e-commerce bucket or the CMS bucket. So not many CRMs have that, but seems like Zoho is the only platform that has that because they have a larger footprint overall, among marketing agencies, which are going to have very, very, very strong affiliate network, and that's how they are sourcing deals. So again, I don't know if even Salesforce has that. I'm pretty sure HubSpot probably would utilize some sort of add-on. So these guys have these capabilities native. That's a very strong point for them if you care for those capabilities. I'll move to the next one. This is their marketing portfolio. Marketing is very interesting as well. They can do similar things as your Hootsuite or Social Pilot of the world, meaning they will have integration with the large majority of social media channels. But again, this is just one of the module inside a very large product. So they are not going to have the same attention in terms of the integration, etc. So for example, let's say if you are very strong on your social media marketing and you want to penetrate social media platforms as they are evolving, right? So let's say if you have a new platform today and you want the integration with that, you want to penetrate before it becomes crowded or they reduce the view count on that platform. Obviously Zoho is not going to have the same R&D firepower that the smaller players are going to have. So that's the real con you're going to have when you're utilizing a module inside a very, very, very large app portfolio. Here for Zoho, it's just a module. Social is not always going to be their priority. Their priorities are going to be dictated by what their customers are requesting and where the largest number of their customers are, which are going to be in the marketing space, tech space, software space, IT as well. Then they have the surveys, they have the backstage, which is slightly more event management platform. And the only other place where we saw event management platform was with Microsoft. Microsoft had very strong capabilities. So whatever Microsoft is doing, Zoho is trying to follow that in general. Zoho is really trying to sort of copy their strategy for the most part. For the mid-market, they sort of have the marketing automation, but again, they are not going to have the same depth as you are going to find with like the likes of HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, etc. Then they have campaigns, they have sites as well. Sites is a very SharePoint centric product. The way SharePoint would be inside your Microsoft, I don't know how many companies still use it. Even Microsoft is offering, I don't know, maybe 50 apps as part of their portfolio. But Andy, I don't know about you, but we hardly use like Outlook. And those apps simply live there. They don't sort of add any value. So you are paying, you are thinking that you are probably buying a lot in that $50, $60, whatever you are spending, but you're hardly going to use one, maybe two apps, not more than that. And that's how they are pricing that their assumption is that most companies are never going to use as many, even if they are going to buy all of this. But at least you have that, from the licensing perspective, it's going to be far easier because the way 90% of the marketing platforms work is, they will have, what is that called, the paywalls, for every single feature that you're going to use. And sometimes it's very hard to predict the cost of those paywalls. Even if you are going to require a minor feature such as requiring a product as part of your code, you have to do that. Then again, your upcharge is going to be very, very, very high. So that's a real advantage with Zoho in general. They have webinars, so they are doing both physical as well as digital events. So they have end-to-end traceability there. They have landing pages as well. A lot of functionality from the marketing automation perspective. But again, I don't know how deep that is going to be. Then they have Desk. Desk is going to be very similar to your Zendesk, but Zendesk is going to be very open overall from the integration perspective. The ecosystem of Zoho is not going to be as open as you are going to find with the real Zendesk, and they are going to have a lot more AI capabilities as part of their bucket, because they are primarily focusing on the customer service centric bucket, and their valuation is very high, even though Zoho has that as a module, but they are not valued as high just because they are never going to invest as much just in the desk functionality, even though you are getting the transactional capabilities here. Then they have many, many, many other capabilities. They have Zoho Assist, which is going to be your remote monitoring platform, which is, again, Microsoft has that. So whatever Microsoft is going to have, Zoho is probably going to have that. They have Lens. Microsoft launched Lens. Zoho has to have, Lens. Field service management, very similar capability, but again, slightly more for the SMB sector than for enterprises, the way, Microsoft is positioning their offerings. They also have voice phone platform, but again, that could be limited in different geographies. So that's a very interesting platform, but it might not be available in all geographies. So do some research there. Bookings is, it was there in marketing as well. I guess it's here as well. So again, I don't know if your booking is going to be separate from your FSM. I don't know how that would go, to be completely honest. Because this is going to have completely different data model, completely different database. This is going to have their own data model, so it might be trickier to work with this, especially for the operational workflows. Okay, so we have some of the case studies, and we are going to review them. So here, this is a real estate company, and real estate company is going to be the right fit for Zoho because their platform is designed for that customizability. The kind of modules or the capabilities that real estate customer-centric workflows are going to require, they become very, very hard to implement in systems such as your HubSpot and Salesforce, and that's where Zoho is really strong. So here, this company has 1,000 to 5,000 employees, which is a sizable company, and they are able to manage this, which is a big deal, guys. Okay, they have utilized customization, blueprint, predictive sales, assignment rules, workflow automation. Here they are talking about manages its residential business on SAP ERP. So they are using SAP ERP, and then they were using C4C, which is your SAP product, but then they moved away from C4C product because that was outdated. So they encountered several limitations with the system, including complex configurations, limited customization options, and lack of user friendliness. So overall, the way the customization is going to work inside your C4C product, you would probably require a consultant. Even with Zoho, you are probably going to require that, but at least it's slightly more low code, no code. So I guess the amount of effort is going to be lower, I would say, with Zoho, and that is something that customers like. Again, don't try to do these things without a consultant. Even if there is not going to be any coding involved, there are going to be implications. So if you try to do it yourself, that could fire back. Here they are saying interested with leading their new interior design division. And in general, when you look at companies such as interior design, they have very complex CPQ workflows. They have to integrate with several different tools in their coding process. So I don't know how much of that this customer used from the Zoho perspective, but in general, interior design business is very, very, very complex from the customer touchpoint perspective, from their downstream marketing perspective. This business is not going to have as much upstream marketing because these are slightly more traditional legacy business. These transactions are very commoditized. They are not very high value transactions. So in general, you are going to have a lot more busyness in your downstream sales operations workflows, and that's what they are using Zoho for. And that's what we are saying, that Zoho is really strong there with downstream workflows. So here they are saying integrating a telephony system like, what is that? Ozonetel? I don't know. Andy, you can probably help me with that.
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
Yeah, Ozonetel probably. Yeah, probably it's coming from Ozone. With Zoho CRM, so that's a telephone system that they have integrated. And in general, the workflows, the way the integration of your telephone system works, especially if you are going to be a transactional business, you have to integrate. You sort of need a pop-up, on your screen, depending upon how much customer experience you want in your process. So that integration could be extremely busy. You need to understand telephone system, you need to understand telco, you need to be able to integrate. So they integrated with this, and this is where systems such as Zendesk are going to be extremely powerful. They are going to have a lot of these integrations, out of the box. With Zoho, they had to build it. Helped Brigade Plus streamline communication and improve sales efficiency. When a customer contacts them, the call is routed through the Ozontel Zoho integration. So obviously, the call is coming to the CRM. CRM is sort of logging the interaction. That's a big deal, guys. Otherwise, you will be logging that manually. And sales teams like that because they don't want to miss in that. Generally, with CRM adoption, there's going to be a problem in logging these interaction. So you want to collect as much data as possible, and this is where this integration is going to help them. To a specific salesperson, the call is routed directly to that salesperson. Whereas if the customer hasn't interacted with anyone previously, so you have a little territory assignment workflow, which is again, this is where Salesforce is really strong with these workflows because you are doing a little routing of your lead flow based on several different criteria and algorithm. And here you are doing the phone integration as well which is again very powerful. And in businesses such as real estate, this is a real need because you're going to have a lot of agents that are serving many different customers. So here they are doing a lot. Again, that more from the call center perspective. Doing this inside systems such as HubSpot would be extremely tricky, even though they are going to have these integration because the data model is not as friendly for these operational workflows. Then this is the business services. So this is again the industry that is aligned with their core expertise, and you could go as much as 5,000 employees, and this one has 5,000 employees as well. So this is definitely in their target market. Now they are saying this is a multinational provider and leader in asset protection solutions. They were founded in 1978. They have over 150 locations worldwide and 5,000 employees. Now, one of the things that you need to pay attention to is that if you are going to be worldwide, the way Zoho data centers are designed, they are going to be in specific countries. So your data is going to reside in one country, even though you might get the consolidation, but you need to buy whether you are hosting this inside US, Canada, or India, wherever you want. They can probably provide that. They are going to have different support agreement for each of those data center. So you might want to pay attention. Again, Zoho is not necessarily designed for the global traceability the way your enterprise systems are going to be designed. So here, one of the points that they are noting is their custom modules inside Zoho CRM, and Zoho CRM has very strong capabilities for the custom development. The similar capabilities that you're going to find inside your Power Platform in Microsoft or ServiceNow is doing a lot of this work as well. That's where the custom module is very handy. Sometimes companies are going to design these modules inside the likes of your Monday.com, etc. That's where the real power is of Zoho, where you can design a lot of different custom apps and workflows. Even HubSpot does that a little bit, but again, their data model is weak from the downstream transactions perspective. So the three main custom modules that the team set up were contracts. So now if you don't have contracts as part of their native capabilities, then you need to have those workflows modeled as part of your custom app. And then they have center of excellence and operations team. And sometimes companies are designing these custom modules, they can overstep their boundaries, and they are trying to model those ERP workflows as well. So you might want to be a little careful there in terms of what you are modeling. In some cases, there's going to be a place to model these workflows inside CRM system, but companies generally overdo that if they don't know what they're doing. But in this particular case, I guess you would probably require that because their contracts are going to be very unique. Salescom functionality is another area which is very custom, very unique for a lot of businesses, and that's where you probably need to host that inside a custom module inside a CRM. CRMs are slightly easier, I would say, for those capabilities. Center of Excellence seems like more of the project management module for those governance workflows. That's a very interesting module that I personally have not seen with any other products. So it has to be custom, and that's why they have used Zoho for operations team. Now, there could be a blurred line there where you should be hosting this, whether you want to host inside your CRM, ERP, depending upon what you are trying to do. This is another example of medical device companies. In this particular case, they have roughly 500 to 1,000 employees. Again, very sizable, I would say. They have done this in India with roughly 30,000 customers. So my understanding of this business is going to be that they have slightly more commoditized devices as opposed to very capex centric devices, because that would be a very different business model transactions. So they have a presence in 65 plus countries with more than 700 employees, 300 field sales agents, and 150 field service agents. So again, the way we saw that, Zendesk was designed for slightly more transactional businesses, even Zoho is penetrated very well in slightly more transactional businesses. They have some B2B play as well, but they are doing a lot more, especially when you are going to talk about those commerce-centric transactional business. Zoho is doing a lot of business there. Custom module was designed to capture their sales process automation, customer and product information, along with the lead to order process details. Now, depending upon what all you have modeled in this, there could be a thin line between ERP versus CRM. So you really need to think through that in terms of what you want to host inside your CRM versus ERP. But in general, the way medical device workflows work is, let's say if you are selling or commercializing these devices in many different markets, you are going to have different approval process. You are going to have very different CPQ processes in those geographies. So Zoho is probably not the right fit. In this particular case, they were probably selling only in India. That's why it is probably going to be okay. But if you are a very global medical device company, even if you're going to be a startup and you are selling in Europe and US, Zoho is probably not the right fit for that. You'll run into challenges there. In this case as well, they have integrated a call center solution. So in a lot of cases, they are doing that just because their model is designed for a lot of these integrations. One more example here. This is the energy company. And for energy, they have a lot of custom workflows. Again, very transactional business. You're going to have a lot of consumers. You are going to have very complex processes from the subscription perspective. And those subscriptions are going to be very low dollar. So again, these are the industries where you are going to find players such as your Salesforce, players such as your ServiceNow. You are going to find players such as your Oracle. They are really penetrated here. Even Microsoft does a lot of business. And in this particular case as well, they are a B2C business, and a lot of energy businesses are really B2C. In this particular case, they are saying they had experienced growth with over 1,200 employees, operating in more than 10 countries. Again, very global footprint, but it's not necessarily designed for those global consolidated workloads, even though these guys are using that, but they must be limited to just one data center, one country. So very interesting use cases here. In 2019, the company achieved a revenue of roughly 53 million euro, and has been listed in the Financial Times overview. That's the fastest growing company. This is a very interesting comment here. So they have integrated Zoho CRM with MailChimp. Now that's very interesting. Even Zoho is going to say, you know what, you can use whichever apps you want, but then you are probably doing integration yourself, because Zoho is probably not going to provide all of those integrations. Some of them might be there, but the number of integrations that you're going to find is going to be limited. So you are better off going everything with Zoho. When you are going to use these multiple apps, it might not make much of a sense, because it's only going to become expensive. You are going to pay a lot to Zoho. You're also going to pay a lot to MailChimp. And then finally, you have to pay a lot to maintain that integration as well, along with the consulting effort. So yeah, and I don't know why they ended up using this, because most likely they didn't like the marketing automation capabilities. There is always a possibility for that. Zoho is not necessarily strong in the real marketing automation capabilities, even though they might be able to do some campaigns. Yeah, so this is a very similar, telephony integration as well as the lead routing workflow. Here they are saying they have developed a commission calculation system for sedentary salespeople based on their performance, and it is integrated through Zoho's API. This is a PHP project on Laravel coupled with a Chrome extension. So again, this is probably the right use case for Zoho in developing the sales comp, because sales comp in general is very, very tricky. In general, if you are trying to model this inside ERP, even CRM, that could be very difficult. If you are going to have very complex competitions, and if you're not willing to compromise in how you have designed your sales model, because that drives your performance, then you are looking for slightly more fluid model, and that's where your Zoho custom app may be a better fit. Okay, any comments, guys? I'll keep moving here. So this is one more real estate, and real estate is a very good fit for Zoho CRM in general. So here, this is less than 50 employees. So they are saying start hunting for most compatible solution for its business. Zoho, they had evaluated Zoho along with the other alternatives such as HubSpot and Salesforce. So they did that. And this particular company was also impressed by Zoho's cost per license. That is always one of the biggest factors why companies use Zoho, because there's no argument with their licensing fee. It's that cheap. It's that cheap, in terms of what they are trying to offer as part of their package. And the package is very, very, very good.
And especially in this case, it's below 50 employees, so it's a small group.
Even if you have larger footprint, I would say, Andy, if you are, let's say, 1,000 employee real estate company, even 5,000,
Wow.
It would still make sense, unless you are looking for that global traceability, global connectivity of your processes. You are looking for the data model connectivity, which is not necessarily required for CRM workflows. ERP is a different beast altogether. For customer-centric processes, you don't necessarily need that, and that's why Zoho is okay, for these use cases, the ones we have reviewed. For example, for Selectra Energy, 200, 500 employees, great fit, no problem there. Business services, 5,000 employees, no problem there, zero problem. Unless they are looking for those costing workflows, sometimes there could be a challenge. But again, for CRM workflows, there's no problem at all. This one, real estate, 5,000 employees, no problem, great fit.
Wow.
Yeah, you were on this one, right? Okay, so here they are saying our bottom line has increased by over 100,000 per year from the cost savings alone. And yes, Salesforce, HubSpot, you have no idea how expensive they get. They are
I knew Salesforce did. I didn't realize HubSpot did, but
they are even more expensive.
is that right? Wow.
They are one of the most crafty company in the world. People should be learning from them how to design the sales processes because they position themselves as free CRM. But once you get into the weeds, then you know how much you will pay at the end of the day. They are one of the strongest sales, team in the world, I would say. And that's why they are so popular. Um, Cost savings alone, that's not including the increased revenue due to our improved customer experience. So there is a real tangible, financial savings here with Zoho. And Zoho has far deeper capabilities, I would say, from the downstream sales process perspective. Much stronger CRM, very comparable to your Salesforce. Yeah. The 10-year savings for a company with 100 employees, is $1 million. We save over 70% per year since switching, and I believe them completely. This is a real deal. This is the another insurance company that they are talking about. When I tell people that we change CRMs, they are shocked. They believe that they could not change, but they found something that could actually meet their functionality. And for insurance business, again, the CRM processes are very thick in general, and most people believe that Salesforce is the only platform that can do that. But again, Zoho has very strong capabilities. Market that can accommodate the complexity of our business, and that is just not true. We love Zoho Connect. It's a fixture of our culture now. It's our internal Twitter feed. But again, that is just a social media platform that is just fancy. It's great, but it's not. It does not have as tangible value as the other apps that they have.
What about the integration of Zoho to the various ERPs? Have they done much there?
So again, Zoho like to sell their own apps. So they are going to have very strong integration with their own apps. They
Right.
are not a very open platform. So
Right.
if you are trying to build a very best of breed architecture, then Zoho is not the system that you should be choosing. Zoho is good when you are small, and you don't need your data models to be connected. You don't require their global traceability, and you are using them more for the CRM, ACM centric workflows, on top of other ERPs. Then Zoho is a great fit. Yeah, they will have integration, but again, those integrations may not be very useful because your workflows might be very different. In general, what Zoho is trying to do is they are trying to position their own products. So sometimes that could be tricky. So this is the internet company, 350 plus employees. Again, very, very, very strong fit here overall. So they are saying sales team manager uses over 400,000 leads in CRM alone. Can you believe this? So obviously that's a very strong, transactional volume. They have roughly 370 users, for their car washing. Again, very transactional business. I would say parking verticals, they utilize the CRM system from end to end, from generating leads to closing deals. But again, there's not much happening between generating leads and closing deals there for a car wash business, I guess, right? Leads are primarily generated from the company's website, app, and social media handles. And again, for these transactional businesses, Zoho is a great fit. They are pushed into CRM using API integration set up by the company's data engineering team. The auto insurance sales team works in a different fashion compared to the parking and car wash verticals. And this is where your process scalability is going to be handy. So you are going to find a lot of CRMs in the market that might do, let's say, parking, or they might do car wash, they might do auto insurance. But when you are looking to consolidate all of these business models as part of one solution portfolio, that's where your Zoho CRM is going to be a great fit. Configured several custom modules in Zoho CRM to align with their process flow, integrating DocuSign. Now, I don't know why you would use DocuSign in this case. You can easily use Zoho Sign. You're simply wasting your
Yeah,
money.
it's kind of redundant, right?
Yeah, you're simply wasting your money. If you're using that. The sales team proactively obtains, digital signatures on policy documents and declaration forms from customers, and depending upon what license they have, if they are on CRM. So I think they were on CRM, they were not necessarily using Zoho One, but Zoho One pricing is very compelling in general. You are better off going to Zoho One as opposed to using the CRM alone. That's probably going to be better. Okay, guys. So I think we are close to our time now. We'll take comments. Andy?
Well, it's interesting to learn a few other things that Zoho does. I use it on a daily basis, and actually, our website is all built on the Zoho platform as well. It's not it's not 100% perfect, but it does. It's it's all included, so it's pretty good. The only limitation that's the reason why I asked that. The only limitation I found is integrating Zoho with ERP type systems does take an effort.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, for the price, it's phenomenal.
Yeah. More comments, Shrestha, do you have anything?
I think it's a very good solution for SMBs that doesn't require any global traceability, and it is of course providing many capabilities, but I feel like still companies would require consultants to help them out what they want and not, otherwise they can get confused. Yeah.
That's going to be a very long-term confusion, I guess. You're never going to find your answers.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other follow-up comments, Andy?
No, not really. I mean, obviously Zoho's done very well. They've got a very good following, and it's growing all the time. But you do need some. It's certainly above my pay grade to be able to do a lot of the integrations and tools like that.
Yeah.
I rely on the marketing people to do that.
Yep. No, completely agree. You would require a lot of hand holding. It is not supposed to be, even if they are positioning it as more of low code, no code. Even low code, no code requires a lot of expertise.
Exactly.
You still need to have data model expertise. Otherwise, you are going to do crazy things and they are going to fire back pretty bad.
I mean, I think you've looked at our website recently or over the last months. It does a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. It's commendable job, Andy. What you have done there. So great job, guys. Unless you guys have any other comments, let's close.
No, that's great. Thank you so much.
All right, guys. So that's it for today. If you joined for the first time, this was part of our industry series for which we meet every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. So make sure you guys are going to be here next week. We're going to come back with another vendor for the solution. On that note, thanks everyone for tuning in today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.